just finished reading A Republic, If You Can Keep It by Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch. And it's a very interesting book. I think this may be a defining book for the future of American legal jurisprudence. Perhaps doesn't put it in these words, but the American legal system can be fickle at times and maybe at a point of no return. Consider how much the branches, all of them, have really delegated some part of their core power to another branch. Take, for example, the judicial system, ceding some trials to the administrative state. Consider their courts or defer to their judgments as a part of the real meaning of a law, such as we've seen in the Chevron defense. Consider the power recently ceded by the White House to the White House from the legislature, who seemingly drafted its own bill and was able to get Congress to pass it. Consider the legislature itself, who passed generalized policy, who's passing policy outcomes, but really seeing how that's really implemented that framework to the administrative state. Today, the power to sue and win is harder than ever. The right to a trial by jury, once thought of as the most primary mechanism to ensure liberty, now inaccessible via the cost, the burden of discovery, and in some cases, the right to a trial by jury is not the default in some civil cases. Perhaps the most dangerous movement of all is the ceding of power to actually create law, as it is, in some cases, to judges. Judges, of course, by design, are supposed to be independent and shielded from accountability in sort of the broader sense. So then efficiency or a working government, as conceived by some modern media pundits, is not the intention of the framers. It is always meant to be accountable by we the people who give it any power at all. To some, the rulings by Gorsuch can come off as partisan in one way or another, or swaying as Kennedy did, especially when it comes to his thoughts about Native Americans. But analyzed legally, as you see throughout this book, Gorsuch is quite consistent with his foundation in originalism plus textualism, and he really dives deep into some of the issues that are facing American law today. Separation of powers, the right to liberty, some of those essential core rights, how we have shaped America with law, and how the law has shaped America. I want to end with this quote that was in the book from his mentor, Justice White, who is quoting his favorite poem. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make an allowance for their doubting too, or being hated but don't give way to hating, if you can meet with triumph disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. He also describes towards the end what makes a good judge. And it's a judge that seemingly gets lost to history, because a good senator will point to their history and say, I passed that bill, or I passed that legislation, or I made this happen. But a judge isn't supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be impartial and sometimes rule against the guys that they want to win. They're supposed to stand for liberty and justice. But most importantly, the law above all. Sometimes the law just isn't popular. Oh, and by the way, our next book is going to be this one. This is Challenger, A True Story of Heroism and Disaster on the Edge of Space by Agnes Hildebrand. As you can see, I've already kind of read it a little bit, but it's already shaping up to be a good book, very technical book with a little bit of narrative at the end that really grips so far. So I hope to see you all next month.